I was 14, 15, 16, still chasing validation. When people can't control you, they start to try to control your narrative. In high school, I was like, nah, these are my guys. These are my guys. No, that's not what happened. Stop people pleasing. That's it. Stop. You literally have to stop. You have to stop. People pleasing is a silent killer. Ask me how I know, because I used to be that guy. I don't know when it started, but all I know is that when I was young, it was always about what somebody else wanted to happen, or what somebody else wanted for me, or not trying to step on anybody else's toes, not trying to hurt anyone else's feelings. Meanwhile, I was hurting myself along the way. You see, a lot of times when it comes to people pleasing, we do it because we lack boundaries. I remember growing up. I swear I don't know. I swear I don't know how it started, but I remember, like, literally since I was just starting school, all the way through elementary, all the way through middle school, even through high school, I was that kid who always was seeking validation from other people. I don't know what I was lacking. Well, I do know now, but at the time, I don't know. I felt like I thought everybody dealt with that. But that just, well, maybe they did. Maybe they did. But for me, I was always doing things to make sure I had friends, or to make sure people liked me, or to make sure I wasn't offending anyone. I remember, I think my earliest experience, my earliest memory of people pleasing was in first grade. I had someone who I thought was my best friend at the time. And I remember, I don't know what we were arguing about, but I think it had something to do with toys. You know how it's raining outside? Because normally for recess, you go outside and play. What's going on? Normally when you're in that grade, when you have recess, you go outside and you play. But I think it was raining this day, because I remember us having indoor recess. So we had indoor recess, and it had something to do with some toys or something stupid. I'm like 5 years old at the time. And my friend, my best friend, he got mad at me. And I remember being like, no. You know how I go. So it's like he had control over me. I don't know what that's about. Like, I was like, no, please. Like, he was acting like, you know how when kids young, they be like, if you don't do this, I'm not going to like you anymore. Because they try to control you. They try to control what you do so that they can remain with the upper hand. He was on some stuff like that. He was like, no, man. He was being mean to me and acting mad at me. You know how to fold their arms and do all this. And I remember being like, no, please stop. Like, I won't do it anymore, whatever it was. And essentially, at 5 years old, it's the same thing at every age or level in your life. Because at 5, it's, I'm not going to like you anymore. At 15, it's your friend starts ignoring you. Like, they might not throw a temper tantrum, but they might start ignoring you, or they might spread rumors to the girl that you like. Really, that happens at every age. But spreading rumors to the girl that you like, or to the girl's friends, so that she can see you, just because when people can't control you, they start to try to control your narrative. Another instance, I remember in third grade, it was a kid but I remember him literally bullying me, and me trying to get in his good graces, as if me being nice to him was going to stop the bullying. I remember being in middle school, and the kids that would spread rumors about me trying to be nice to them and make them laugh, because I was funny in school. I don't know. I was funny in school. I used to be on my class clown vibe, whatever. And I remember that was like my way out, essentially. I've always had a sense of humor, but it was my superpower growing up in school, because I was getting picked on or trying to get people to like me. I remember being in middle school, and this one kid, I feel like the older I go, I need to stop saying names. I was in middle school, and this kid was spreading rumors about me, stuff that wasn't true, stuff that made me look weak, or made me look bad to people who I thought was my friends, or made me look bad to a girl I might have liked. And still, instead of standing up for myself, I was trying to join forces with the bully join forces with the person who was being mean to me. I guess that was my way of making it stop, but really it never worked. High school, same thing. I had people who I thought was my friends then, and these were people who I really thought was my friends. Like people that I thought I was locked in with. Like I feel like in elementary school you just naive, you know, or kindergarten or even, you know, middle school. But in high school I was like, nah, these are my guys. These are my guys. No, that's not what happened. I remember still, it just hadn't clicked in my head yet. It hadn't clicked yet. I was 15, I was 14, 15, 16, still chasing validation. Not only from the guys who I thought was my friends, but from the girls that I liked that at the time never would have liked me because of who I was at the time. At that high school age, I was not only still chasing validation, I was doing it in ways where cause I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who I was. So I remember there was a guy who, I'm not gonna say his name now cause that just seemed too close. It's just so awkward when you try to record and people walking past and doing all this. Like, man, get out of here, man. Get out of here. Why are you here? What are you doing this for? It was this one kid who, I'm not gonna say his name because high school just seemed way too close. Like somehow, some way, I wish that would stop. Somehow, some way, he gonna come across it. You know, and at the end of the day, if you know, you know. If you knew me at the time of the things that I'm saying, you gonna know exactly what I'm talking about, and I'm exposed. But I don't care. It was this one kid who, he just seemed to have it all. You know, he was an athlete. He was funny. He wasn't getting good grades. Now, granted, that's the only thing. But he was, the things that was important to kids at the time, being an athlete, being popular, being funny, and girls liking you. He was just a cool guy, you know? And I remember essentially, I didn't realize it at the time, but subconsciously, I was completely mirroring his entire personality and making it my own. Unbeknownst to me, everybody else around me could tell. When people pick up on those kind of things, they tend to not like you because they're like, you're not being yourself. Who are you? That's his personality. Why don't you show us who you are instead of trying to mimic him, right? So here's the thing. In high school, it's easy to have a level of perspective to be able to identify when somebody's copying somebody else. However, at that age, you may, more times than not, lack the empathy level to be able to identify why they're doing that. Everybody could tell that's what I was doing, but nobody's third eye was open enough to be able to identify what I needed in that time in my life. Another prime example, when I was in college, it was this one dude who watch my when you realize they're intimidated by you video. I'm gonna put that right here so you can see it. But it was this one kid who, when I was in school, I was in college, and it was like no matter what I did, he didn't like me, you know? I distinctly remember, and at the time, I was 21 years old, still people pleasing. 21 years old in college. And I guess it was uncomfortable for me to know that people didn't like me. It had been that way. And it's like, you would think after being 21 years old, 21 years of people not liking you sometimes, you would think I would be used to that by then. I wasn't used to it. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. No matter what I did, he just chose to not like me. He was not going to like me no matter what. It just didn't happen. And I remember jumping through all these hoops, trying to be so kind and trying to not do this and not do that. I'm walking on eggshells around this dude. This is a grown man. Why am I doing any of that? I don't know when I still to this day don't know when it clicked. But there was a time, it doesn't mean that I've never found myself doing it again, because that wouldn't be true. It's something that, because I just don't like to hurt people. So Sometimes I find myself doing a little things that I don't want to do just to make sure I'm looking out for other people. But sometimes you toe the line of people pleasing or doing something that's just not in your best interest. I don't know when it clicked, but one day I just woke up and I stopped caring. It doesn't matter what you do. If somebody does not like you, if somebody is committed to disliking you, there's nothing on this planet that you can do. You can go to space and capture the sun in the palm of your hand and bring it back to them as a gift. There's nothing you can do to change their mind. Their mind is made up, and you're just gonna have to live with the facts. What I realized about people pleasing is that people do it because there's a lack. Sometimes you just lack boundaries, which is like, okay, I'm gonna people please because I don't wanna hurt this person, and I'm gonna sacrifice myself to make sure that they stay good. And meanwhile, you put yourself in the back burner. Or you might people please because you lack some love in your life. You might lack some love in a certain area, so you go seeking that elsewhere. You go seek that love somewhere. You might seek that validation somewhere. There's just something that's unresolved inside you that you're looking for in external factors to fill the void. And really what it boils down to is, a lack of self-love. It doesn't mean that you don't love yourself if you people please, but when you people please, you're not actively loving you because you're putting something else outside of God above you. Sometimes there's something that you want and others don't. So instead of you going for what you want, you give the people what they want by not doing it. Or somebody might not want something for you, but you want it. So you'll hold back because you want to please them instead of saying no. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is say no.
You gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you. That's why
Or to say yes when others are telling you no. Sometimes you lack love in your life, whether it's love from your parents that you didn't get growing up, or love from your siblings that you're not getting at home, or love from anybody who you look up to, anybody that you see as a point of influence. You need love from those people. But when you lack that and you haven't fully, developed into who you're going to be, it's easy for you to seek that in places where it's maybe not the healthiest. If you're not getting what you need at home as a child, going to school and seeking that from friends your age or kids your age, especially people who aren't treating you right, that's never going to fill the void. All it's going to do is send you on an endless cycle where you just stay in a loop and you're going to downward spiral because you're chasing something that is nearly impossible to be fulfilled. People pleasing is a silent killer. And I say it because I've seen it ruin different things in my life or different aspects of my life. Whether it was the way I felt about me at a time because I couldn't tell somebody no. You have those moments where everything in you is saying, say no. And you say yes and you immediately regret it. But you just couldn't bring yourself to disappoint somebody. And then you just end up in a cycle of self-disappointment because you knew that you didn't want to do that. Or everything is saying say yes. And you say no because you know that somebody else's expectation doesn't align with yours. So you much rather hurt your own feelings than to hurt theirs. It's just a path that leads to pain. And you're going to feel pain along the way. When you stop people pleasing, you free yourself. When you start loving yourself, when you start loving others because you love yourself, you can free you and others from a lifetime of pain because you were able to say no. You were able to be honest. As you get older, you realize people would much rather you tell them the truth. More times than not. I'll say more times than not, they would much rather you tell them the truth. Or even if they're upset with you in that moment, over time, once they get over that high of emotion, they will grow to understand it and to respect it. You will never regret telling the truth. You will never regret choosing you first. It doesn't mean you're being selfish, But what it does mean is that you're not sabotaging yourself for the sake of someone else. If you don't take care of you, it's your priority to take care of you first, nobody else's. If you're not even doing that for you, you can't expect somebody else to do it. You got to make sure you are intact. You got to make sure your stuff is right. And then when you're right, then you can make sure everybody else is right. For the people who you being right conflicts with them, maybe those just aren't your people. My name is AUSTINSLENS. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like the video, comment on the video. Be sure to like the video, comment what you think. Share it with somebody who needs to hear it, man. Subscribe to the channel. I'm going to catch y'all in the next one.
Yeah, hey.